and I do believe that cars have souls.
A few years ago, back in 2004, I had the opportunity to go to Speedweek in Bonneville for the first time. I've not met a car guy yet who didn't have Bonneville and Speedweek on his bucket list. Up early on a Friday, we were headed out. 9 hours later, we arrived in Wendover, quickly checked into our little hotel, and then headed off to the casino to see the cars parked out front. After wandering around for a while and getting some photos, we headed to bed early. Saturday was going to be a very early day. Up at dark 30, I headed out to the one road to get onto the Salt. They don't open the road until the sun comes up, so we all drove out and waited in line on the road, drank coffee, talked cars, and waited for the sun to come up. Once out on the Salt, it felt like Disneyland, wondering where to go and what to look at first. I found my friends who were there and got my bearings. They also loaned me a bicycle to cruise around in the pits on. While tooling around, I saw a very interesting old coupe. Flagging him down, I told him I was there photographing cars for my magazine, Speed and Chrome Illustrated, and asked if we could set up a shoot later on in the day. Here's the story as was told to us in 2004 by Paul Reichland and printed in our 4th issue in 2004, which became our very first issue to sell out. When Paul Reichland bought this old Model A in 1999, he thought he got a nifty old race car. What he has now, however, is an obsession to preserve its history. But its history remains a mystery, leaving Paul sleuthing around for the story of the car's origins. Paul bought the car from Dave Simmerd, owner of East Coast Customs in Massachusetts. Simmerd found the car in Riverside, California 4 years earlier. Ray Gonzalez built and owned the car. Simmerd tried several times to buy it, but Gonzalez would never sell. When Gonzalez died unexpectedly, leaving his family with no life insurance, Gonzalez's widow contacted Simmerd then to sell the car. Living close by at the time, Simmerd paid cash and took it within an hour, pushing it to his home. When the widow's son came home, he was extremely mad at her for selling Dad's car, so to this day, no one in the family will talk about the car. Paul contacted her through Southern California friends, but so far, she has refused to talk. He also sent her pictures of the car, but she has not written back. Paul is working up to calling her. I've been trying to give her subtle hints, he said. I sent her pictures of the car in front of my house with my family, my 2 kids, and wife around it. Told her whenever I take it out, people want to know more about it. Who her husband was, who he built it for. So far, she has not responded. Simmerd told Paul that the car raced at Fontana Drag Strip and likely El Mirage, but Paul has not found any proof of where or when it was raced. Perhaps because of this, Paul wants to preserve the car, changing only what he needs to change to drive it. Otherwise, he keeps it as much as he can in its original state and recreates what he thinks is how it once existed. This car needs to be left the way it is, as found, he said. People have really appreciated seeing it as it was found instead of all fixed up. There's a lot of history here and simple details of how and low-budget builder used to build them. The car was used primarily for drag racing. Paul knows this from the tie rods in front of the front axle, which prevented the car from doing anything but going straight. Some people have told me or thought that it was what they called a roundy-round car or oval dirt track car. Paul said, "Never did that. It couldn't do that. It couldn't go around corners. The steering would get stuck. So I put the tie rods in the back so I could actually drive it around on the street." Besides moving the tie rod, the car also needed an engine since it didn't have one, so he built a 41 Ford Flathead. It had the motor mounts and the holes, the cowl, and everything to the exhaust, so I knew it was a flathead car even without pictures, he said. The car still has the original Firestone racing tires that came with the car. The car also had no battery and the original racing gas tank, which only held 1.5 gallons. Paul installed an old Model T gas tank and a Model T battery box in the trunk so he could drive it further. Paul also rebuilt the brakes, master cylinder, and added turn signals to the rear taillights. We believe that it was towed to the racetrack with a tow bar because there was no headlights and no wiring, Paul said. No signs of headlights, but to tow it, you just have to have a license plate and taillights. The car still has the original 1956 California license plates, with tags dating to 1959. The original Crosley steering wheel with the original steering box remains. The clutch likely blew up at one time because the bell housing was busted off the Zephyr transmission. Paul found another Zephyr and put it back the way it originally was. It's kind of a unique transmission and shifter arrangement, he said. He mentioned that Gonzalez must have added the hood later as it was slightly off in size and color. Although Paul has practically no personal information about Gonzalez, he feels he has come to know the man through the car. The guy that built it, he had some pride in it, Paul said. He had it fixed up. It wasn't just a total beater. And that way, I could restore it, because that's what he did. He didn't just leave it all rusty and stuff. That happened over the years. For the chassis, the frame manufactures as a Model A Ford, with no modifications. Rear and gear ratio is 378. The rear suspension is welded directly to the frame with no spring. The rear brakes are 40 Ford. Front suspension, drop axle, split wishbones, Model A spring. Front brakes, 40 Lincoln. Master cylinder, 39 Chevy with hand control. Steering column, 31 Model A box modified to center steer with Crosley steering wheel. Front wheel make and size, 40 Ford, 16x4. Front tire make and size, Firestone ribbed original, 550/16. Rear wheel make size, 51 Ford pickup, 16x5. Rear tire make, Firestone, 750/16. And now for the engine. Year and make, 41 Ford Flathead, 59 LB. Displacement, 221 cubic inches. Camshaft, AL1. Compression ratio, unknown. Heads, stock. Horsepower, unknown. Torque, unknown. Manifold induction, Edmunds, 2-pot, 297s. Ignition, stock. Headers and mufflers, open single tube. The transmission is a 1939 Lincoln Zephyr with a full cache and shifter. The body's a 1929 Ford Model A Coupe, all steel. The body mods is a 4-inch channel and a 4-inch chop. Bodywork is unknown, painter's unknown. The paint type and color is a 1955 Lincoln Coral. Interior. The dashboard is actually the aluminum firewall with gauges installed. Gauges are oil and fuel, pressure only. More to come, especially attack. Wiring minimal. Steering wheel Crosley. Seats single seat metal, origin unknown. Material brown vinyl. Carpet none. Other things. Model T gas tank. Model T battery box. I just want to say thank you to all you guys who have supported this channel by subscribing and commenting and liking on the videos. It's really making a big difference and we're growing. So thank you so much. And as always, take care and drive fast. See you next time.